It's that time of the week, it's time to get wild. Pete Wild, Pete Wild. As your teams are discussed in our unprofessional style. We're not here to pull punches, we're not here to play nice. We're here to talk football as your teams roll the dice. From transfers to matches, from rumors to stats. The lower league look, the place it's all at.
It's really growing on me, is that song. It's not growing on Hannah, but it's really, really growing on me. Guys, welcome to Thursday. What day it was? Thursday's Lower League Look. Sure, we haven't done one for nearly 2 weeks, but we're going to talk about League Two and everything that's going on. So whether you are sat at home, whether you're at work, whether you're listening on Spotify, whether you're listening on Apple Music, watching us on YouTube, whether someone's filming you have a piss, welcome to Thursday night's show. Welcome to a very special episode. We've got 4 people here, including myself. We're going to talk about a little bit of everything. So I'm going to bring someone in. I'm going to bring... I was going to say choose a number, but you guys can't, so I'll choose my own number. First and foremost, I do things a little bit different this time. Ronan, welcome. Welcome to
all right.
the evening. How are you feeling? I'm great, me. I'm quite excited to get going.
Yeah, we didn't lose at the weekend, so I'm buzzing.
Unbeaten at the weekend for you?
Unbeaten. I'm well happy. Life's good at the minute.
Well, I mean, you need to sign a few players, but you'll be happy once it all comes in. Be a few shipping out as well, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I'd be surprised if we didn't do business both ways, but we'll wait. I think we'll be up right up to the last day, but we'll see.
Fleetwood bound. We'll see. I'm going to bring someone else in because I've got something I want to show as well. Fife, good evening. He's back. He's not poorly this week. He's had a birthday. He's had a party. He got a frame with his shirt in. Fife is here. How you doing, Paul? You all right?
I'm not too bad. I am not quite 100%, but I'm a lot better than last time I was on. Thank you.
What percentage are you on?
I reckon I'm performing at a good 95% now.
It's a good percentage to be at.
It's a solid percentage.
Good percentage. You aren't unbeaten.
No, and it's also not worth talking about transfers either because our entire January kitty's going on a new see-through roof.
Yes, a two-way mirror for the toilets. Yeah. Well, before we get on to that, Hannah, good evening.
Hi, welcome. I'm never at more than 95%. So,
but is that technically your 100% then?
No.
Or do you have a further 5%? You just keep a reserve.
Upper limit.
Is it the upper echelons of your efforts?
Yeah. I went to Salford City. No, I went to City against Salford on Saturday night. So I am technically the least unbeaten of them all.
Hannah saw 9 league goals across 2 games at the weekend.
Is it? No, FA Cup goals.
Yeah, 9 goals. Not once did any of those 9 goals go in for a team she was there to support.
No, there was zero celebrating at the weekend. It was heavy. It was heavy going.
Do you know what? Let's before we get on to the games, Fifey kind of spoke about it. We're going to come on to it, and we've kind of tweeted about it. Hannah is the only person who would be a victim. Yeah, and you know what? I think victim is the right word.
I could have been a victim. I mean, I have been to those toilets. I just don't tend to look up.
Unless you're straining really hard, you're not going to look up, are you?
I would not do that at football grounds.
Yeah,
I mean, I assume that men's toilets are as bad, but women's toilets at football grounds are often horrific. Walsall's are one of the worst.
I mean, football toilets in general are just.
Yeah.
I'm not one for using facilities at football grounds generally.
Which ground has the piss wall?
We had one.
No.
We got rid of it recently.
No, there's a really. It is Carlisle. Carlisle have a really bad trench, Hannah, in the guys' toilets.
Yeah, I remember that.
Forest Green's like a big green urinal thing, and then they treat the water and then use it to water the pitch. And
That's
every
right, yeah.
time anyone like made a sliding tackle or ended up face ground on the pitch, I was like, oh, I don't like that.
So Forest Green are playing in piss,
Yes.
Yeah.
which explains a lot, a hell of a lot. But for anyone who doesn't know, I'm going to play the first part of the clip, Hannah, because I'm so excited. I'm so proud of this. I spent all day working on this. I'm going to play up to the end of the first chorus of a little song that we made. If you want to see the full song, it's on the social medias. It's on Twitter. It's on TikTok. But this kind of explains what's going on at Swindon right now, where for the second time in a year, someone has found a second camera. This isn't the same camera. I don't know why.
I didn't realise that. I just assumed that Swindon being Swindon, they had taken that they'd justified it in their own heads and taken no action. So this is a new camera.
So the camera from a year ago was on the ceiling above the ladies' toilets in the away end, and the ceiling had been freshly painted red.
I remember.
Yeah, the picture from the Birmingham fan this week, there is no red ceiling. This is a different ceiling. So unless Swindon have, and this might, if it is the same camera, Swindon have gone up and stripped the paint off the roof, but not removed the camera.
All right.
There.
Well,
so,
I feel like we're spoiling it. So
yeah, this is the song. It's soon to be number one in the
Delighted
charts.
that you're playing this.
If this guy, can I just say, Fife, I'm annoyed because if this had happened a month ago, we'd have been in for a Christmas number one. Imagine it. Do they know it's Christmas and they just want to watch you piss, battling it out?
In the heart of Swindon, under the floodlights glow, there's a story that's unfolding, one you should know. The county ground's a place where football's the game, but off the pitch there's something that's causing shame. Cameras up high in the ladies' room, they stare. A privacy invasion, it's not quite fair. The club says it's blurred, but the fans feel the heat. A digital excuse that's hard to beat. Essentially, they just want to watch you piss. 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 They
That's the short version. There is a 3.5 minute full song. Fifey, you look thrilled by it. It's your football club, Fifey. Tell us, as a fan, when you see fans of opposite, like clubs that don't play in your league. So these are fans that haven't been to Swindon for, I mean, when was the last time you played Birmingham? It's got to have been 20 years.
Oh, don't make Birmingham fans feel special. That honestly,
the point is they've not been there for a long time. And a comment that I saw, and I think it's really, really apt, is that that ground used to host Premier League football.
Yeah.
And the comment was, this is a ground that's now falling apart. It's essentially been left to rot. You're looking at a club that's got a ground that, if I looked at Man City's old ground, so like Main Road, that you'd expect that to be obviously a lot worse, but that's kind of where it's heading. It's just falling apart. It's unrepaired. Nothing's been done. Nothing's been fixed. There's leaks. You had no hot water till Tuesday night, did you? And they weren't sure they were going to get hot water on for the game, which I'm positive is not legal, by the way.
It gets the game called off,
yeah, the game, if you don't have running water, you're not allowed to actually host it, are you, as far as I'm aware?
Running water doesn't necessarily have to be hot, though. Maybe.
No, it's hot water because you've got to let the players have a shower. Don't ask me how I know that, but yeah, that is a thing.
Deodorant, and they'd be fine.
But the other thing is that there's so many comments from these Birmingham fans, and I'm going to list them for your Fife, and then you can just unload. Tell us how you feel about it. So there's the toilet issue. There's the cameras in the toilets filming, where the club have essentially said they've put a digital blur over the little bit that catches the cubicle. Now, for me, that's irrelevant because digital blur is an added feature afterwards when you have the footage or when you're looking in the program for the footage. So they could just press a button and turn that digital blur off and just watch someone have a piss. The other thing is that there's the water situation. There's also the situation with the turnstiles where there's been minimal staff on. The club are now blaming fans for turning up to the ground too late, even though they've been turning up at the same time they've turned up for years. And on Tuesday, in the away end, there was that much of a, I don't want to say that much of a congestion. There wasn't, because I think they brought 1,000 fans, maybe. The stewards just opened the fire exit and let everyone in. No ticket checks, no nothing. That's what the Birmingham fans are saying. So I'm going to say allegedly, because we haven't seen proof of that, but there's enough of them talking about it. What are your thoughts on those things individually, Fifey, and then as a general thing as a club? Does that just kind of sum up your club in general right now?
I think football fans up and down the country will all agree that when you get your football club, you've got your football club for life, and there's no changing it. It's kind of written within your DNA at that point, and so Swindon will always and forever be my football team. But they do make it in the modern era incredibly difficult to love them. They are very unlovable as a football club. It's as a supporter, you not only hear this stuff, but you do see it happening in some of the respects of some of the stuff you say. And I mean, it's embarrassing first and foremost, because without wishing to come across as like delusions of grandeur or anything, this is a club that once upon a time was a Premier League club. This is a club who has had tradition of, admittedly in my time as a supporter, never seen us above League One, but this is a team who has been old school Division 2 / modern era Championship. This is a club who has challenged at the top end of League One, and this is a club who is, as you said, falling apart. It's very sad. I use the word embarrassing. It is embarrassing. I as a supporter, I can't apologise enough to other supporters for what they have to go through just coming to my club. And there is absolutely nothing I can do about it. I can't turn up at the county ground and just get rid of cameras that are in positions that they shouldn't be in. I can't make the ground a better place. I can't make it so that when a club wants to bring an actual fan base and bring an atmosphere, I can't make the club sell them a proper amount of tickets instead of saying, oh no, we're a bit scared that you're going to outnumber us at our own ground because you're Birmingham and we're Swindon. So we're just going to cap it at the absolute minimum we can do. It's soul destroying, honestly, being a Swindon fan. Just once, like at the minute, I don't even care what it is. I would just love a good news story. Just something that I can be happy about, and something that I can just for 10 minutes puff my chest out and say, that's why I'm a Swindon fan. But honestly, it's soul destroying. It's embarrassing. And as I said, it just makes Swindon entirely unlovable for someone who basically took an oath to love them for better. Your marriage to your football club is clearly more effective than a marriage to a wife, and that one didn't last, one will last, but honestly, it's shaky ground. And somehow, I'm still, and not just me personally, but you said there, like, the issues the last couple of games with just getting into the ground. This is a professional football club that has been running for hundreds of years. They should know how to, at the absolute minimum, they should know logistically how to get people into the stadium to watch the game that they profess to be professionals at. And the fact that fans are blamed, stop turning up so late. They're not, as you said in the intro, they're not turning up late. They're turning up their normal time. It's honestly, it's soul destroying. And I don't know how much more I'll take. I will take as much as they keep serving up, because that is what fans do.
And they know that, though.
Yeah. But honestly, and the thing is, and we take the unfortunately, we're at the point where we take the mick ourselves. Swindon fans, as a collective, I am personally anyway, but Swindon fans as a collective are very self-deprecating. But you talk about the hot water issue. It's not like we're not owned by a plumber. It's we have various issues with like the PA stroke tannoy systems at the ground. It's not like our CEO or whatever his title is isn't an electrician. Like,
You've literally got everything in the door that you need.
We actually have, which is ironic for Swindon, because normally, if we're talking about the football side of things, we would say we don't have what we need. But ironically, for all the stupid, absolute nonsense stuff off the pitch, we do actually have everything we need, but fundamentally, they still can't do it.
Yeah.
But yes, I'm very pleased that once again we're able to entertain you and the thousands of lower league look listeners and viewers around the world. But as a Swindon fan, I can't tell you how much I hate being a Swindon fan.
I mean, to be fair, you say around the world, it's mainly just Doncaster and Swindon that we deal with. Quite a point is, I'm just going to put. I never use tickers, but I quite like this. So I'm just putting things on. But a comment that was made, you mentioned there about the main issue currently being just getting people into the ground. John has made a very valid point that was brought up, Hannah, and you'll like this. This is from Birmingham fans. The exits were locked in the away end. They couldn't get out of the ground at full time.
Was that a security thing? Because I've had that, not recently, but where I think we've done at Edgeley Park, where we've held fans. We were going to do it against Carlisle, and then they got absolutely smashed. So we let them go early because they wanted to go in terms of getting back to Carlisle. But it was a safety segregation thing.
I don't think they can lock the exits though. Like, as in, I understand that they can say to people, "Oh, you're not allowed to leave until this point." But these were locked. Like, fans were literally unable to open the exit. So should there have been an issue?
Fans should be able to leave whenever they
like.
I know. I mean, you flashed up a comment from John earlier. I know full well, because he sent me video evidence that there has been Swindon games as a Swindon fan he has gone to, and before half time has even arrived, he is recording himself leaving the ground and talking to the stewards who are having to open the doors for him.
I left early the other week, but that was purely because I wasn't ready to watch you win. I went down there with the sole intention of watching you get battered by Dave Artell's Grimsby to see you guys put on a performance, which really, really irked me. A question from Danny for your 5-8, and what happened to it's the Don Rogers stand, isn't it?
Yeah.
They cordoned off the top of the stand.
So
they blamed ice.
Yeah. So, and admittedly, I am kind of doing this secondhand, but I can only tell you from the evidence of what I've seen and from what I know from the guys. As you said, a lot of the Fools were up in Leicester this weekend, so there was only a handful of our guys there. You would have all seen the pictures of the frozen fog, which caused the delay and stuff.
Oh, beautiful.
Basically, particularly as I understand it, at the back end, like at the very top of the stadium, they had put tape out and stuff around certain sections of chairs because there was ice that they weren't able to fully clear in time for kickoff. Realistically, that should have been enough to have the game postponed anyway. But as I understand it, with the issues of people getting in, by the time people who traditionally sit up in that sort of area of the stadium, the tape had kind of fallen apart anyway, and people were just going to where they usually go. But yes, there was sections of the stands which had ice in, like the footwells where you would stand, and there had been a minor precaution taken where they put sort of tape and don't sit here. But that wasn't fully necessarily seen through. And as I understand it, by the time the majority of the crowd was in attendance, a lot of the stewards weren't sort of sure which areas were designated as don't go here. So they just kind of let people go where they usually go.
Ronan, can I ask from a Barrow perspective, because you've got quite an open ground.
Yeah.
Your ground's obviously smaller than the county ground. Have you ever had the issue to a point where they've had to close parts of the stands off for ice, because we've got stands that are of a similar size to the Swindon ones, and we've maybe had it at the front, but never at the top at the back. You wouldn't expect it to be at the top at the back. You maybe expect a frost, but not ice.
No, it's just common sense. Just if you know it's susceptible to something like that, just grit it. It's not difficult. It's not difficult shit. You know what I mean? And it's just being prepared. But no, I mean, you know, our ground's tight as you know, but no, never. It's sad to see a ground in such neglect of a football club that should be. And you know, I don't like saying this, but it should be much higher than what they are. Of course, they should. And it's ownership neglect on football clubs and the fit and proper test, and so it's just bollocks, isn't it? Because it's not real. There's no accountability in case anybody, if anybody does what. Well, let's be honest, he's just stripping Swindon down to nothingness.
Yeah. Well, John said there that they've blamed water off the roof. Again, that doesn't. I can't logistically work out how that, unless there's a leak, I can't work out how that would work.
Yeah.
In fairness, I was sitting in a puddle at the Etihad because of water coming down off the roof. So it you know, it's feasible.
Not at the very back of the stand, though, I imagine.
Not far back. Not far. Like, not far from that.
But obviously, it was Saturday. It was freezing. Where you were there, Hannah. Like it was a puddle. So that's fresh. That's we're talking about something frozen solid to the point they had to close the stand off. So that's something that's over time. That's happened in the week. And like Jason said here, they allegedly claiming that it had been gritted in the morning. So it's been gritted in the morning and then frozen again by kickoff. Well, before kickoff, because they've had a chance to cordon it off.
And grit doesn't work, does it? After the below a certain temperature, is it -8 or something? Grit doesn't work. -6, -8.
Which it wasn't during the day on Saturday. So it's just another thing that you can add to a list of kind of neglectful things that the club have done. Jason's just confirming here it's a second camera located in the women's toilets, so we're talking twice.
And that's the thing for me. Like, regardless of how they tried to bluster their way out of it last year, with the same excuse that it was this digital blurring, the fact that someone in their infinite wisdom decided it was a good idea to leave the cameras up there, and you know, we said at the time when we talked about it last year, like some signage, something, you know, that alerts you that, you know, the security cameras in use in these facilities, but you know, your privacy is protected, or you know, just something to make people aware, so they don't have. It's like Danny, the lovely Swindon fan that I've been on Fools Rush In with, said earlier. It's the regardless as well of whether whatever they're doing with the footage, it's the threat to your personal comfort that you don't know what they're doing with it, and you know, in that moment. There's no information. You look up and there's a camera.
On that point, obviously, on occasion I don't sit in that stand and obviously don't use those facilities.
I thought you were about to tell us you go to the ladies and then.
No. I believe they do try to worm their way, and I'm going to use the phrase "worm their way out" because I just don't trust anything that goes on. I do believe that since issue 1 arose about 12 months ago, they do claim that there is signage advising that these things are there.
I've seen the signage.
I mean, the fact that we have to put signage up to say they're there, just don't have them there is the easiest solution.
Yeah.
Well, by the time you think about it, by the time you've wrote the warning out, you've printed it, you've gone up, you've placed them on all the locations that it needs to be placed, it'd be a lot easier to just get a piece of MDF to put along the top of the cubicle.
Yeah.
And that solves it all. There's no need for a sign if you close the top, especially if the stand is leaking or the stands at the ground are leaking enough to cause ice in the stands. They're going to leak in the toilets. Like, you don't want open roof toilets. It's just baffling. And you know, Danny said it. And look, I like what Her Game 2 represent, and I like the work that Her Game 2 do. But to see a Her Game 2 representative defending that on social media, replying and saying that the club have had approval from the EFL, but they'll bring it up again with the club. Her Game 2, that should be an absolute dead no-go. That is not happening at my football club. That should be priority number 1 for the Her Game 2 Swindon Town representative. I'm not telling them how to do the job, but because it's not a job, it's voluntary, and I fully appreciate that. But you can't even try to sit and defend it, because there is no defending it. You are talking about, regardless of what that footage is used for, there is somewhere unaltered footage of every single person who's used those toilets. There is footage where there is no digital blur. Whether they've seen it or not is irrelevant. It exists. So you can't defend it. But last year, Hannah, and I don't know if you remember, the story has changed. Last year, it wasn't digital blur. If you remember last year,
it was angled,
and there was a grey rectangle placed on the screen over that area. And now we're talking about digital blur, which is when you see someone's face blurred out. So it's changed. So they've made a change. They've acknowledged that it was wrong and needed to do something, but they've not made a change to stop it from just capturing the toilets.
But as Jason
so
said,
glad this is where we started, by the way.
It's the only toilet in the whole ground that has any cameras that pick up any footage of inside a toilet. That just seems bonkers as well, because you would, the women's, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not generalizing for my gender, but there's more likely to be shenanigans going on in the men's toilets that require security involvement than there would be in the women's toilets.
So they're not claiming it's because of the toilets. They're claiming that that's the best place to get an angle of the concourse, where they claim that away fans have caused issues before. So that's why they claim that.
Right, because it's above the...
Yes.
Right.
But again, that's something that you take into consideration when you put any camera up. Am I going to film someone having a piss? Am I going to film something I really shouldn't film? And if I am, what am I going to do to stop it? But Max has said here, and I agree, people like Holly and Caroline works for the club, doesn't she? Holly's the representative for Her Game 2. Right. They are having their goodwill taken advantage of by the club, and the club are allowing these people to defend them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what happens, and it's happened at Swindon so many times. We saw Rob Angus sit in fans forums and defend the club based on what the club had told them, until it got to a point where what he was saying made no sense, and then the club threw them under the bus. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. We'll see it eventually. It'll happen to Caroline. It'll happen to Holly. They'll be thrown under the bus and just left to defend themselves. The club won't want to help them. Danny's nailed it with can't defend incompetence. Really. Ben, why install them there in the first place? Again, Ben, a lot of 5 guys. We're not going to stay on it. Don't worry. We've talked a lot about pissy moments.
But it was Ian Holloway's first clean sheet and an apparent glimmer of light through the fog by Fee.
Until Tuesday.
Yeah. It's unfortunately for you guys, I'm probably the wrong person at this juncture. I don't have the enthusiasm and the bluster to make out that we've got 11 superheroes that have gone out, put their bodies on the line, and they've secured the biggest point in the history of the EFL ever. What we have done, and again, as this is as far as I understand from the accounts of those who were in attendance, what we have done is we have performed reasonably well. We've got a point against a team that many didn't think we would get a point against. Arguably, we were the more likely to get free if anyone was going to get free.
Mm-hmm.
And there are positives that we can take from the performance, which is all that we can really take. Unfortunately, and where my position is slightly different from other fans who are really, and I really, really want to get behind what's happening. But where my position is slightly different is I see that we had that couple of half decent results over Christmas, and a point at home to Crewe. Our league position hasn't really changed. We are not, our performances, it can be argued, are improving. And if we can continue to improve performances, then you would like to think results would follow.
Mm-hmm.
But we are still not, in my opinion, particularly good. We are still a better team without the ball than with the ball. And I'm still, I'm sat here literally halfway through the month. It's the 16th of January. We have 15 days left of the month, if my maths is right there. Our transfer window was going to determine how our season goes. So far, we have one addition in who, through those who have spoken to me, looked half decent when he played, but we have not improved a squad that has not been good enough all season. We're not consistent enough with this squad that it hasn't been good enough all season. And I'm in my heart of hearts, I still think we're not going to go down. I think there are worse than us. But my head, which still does hurt a little bit, I'll be honest. I do still have a bit of a headache, but my head is refusing to count any chickens before they've hatched. And I am still very much sat here fearing the worst, because I don't see that we're going. I can't see this Swindon team going on a 3, 4, 5, never mind a 7, 8, 9 game winning run. I can't see, that's our first, I think it's our second clean sheet of the season, possibly first in the league. We're in January and it's taken to get to that. And goalkeeper is still the position that we need to sort out quickest. We've changed everything behind the scenes in terms of like our director of football, put all our faith in a man who I wasn't 100% sure to begin with. And he's come out with quotes and said, well, I don't know if such and such has gone back to his parent club. That's not my role. No, that's exactly your role. We've told you, or you've been put in this position where our entire future rests on you and you don't know what's going on. It just doesn't bode well. So I'm really sorry. I'd love to come on here and say, we absolutely battered Crewe. We should have had 3 points. We could have done this. We could have done that. We should be doing this. We should be doing that. But just everything about the club is sucking any fun and excitement out of me right now. And until I can see until I can see Holloway Swindon doing what other people think Holloway Swindon are doing, because there seems to be a slight gap between perception and reality for people. Until I can see that actually happening, that I'm struggling to muster up the enthusiasm for it, I'll be honest.
So, Ronan, you get to capitalise on this on Saturday.
Yeah, there's not Cardinals' chance.
This has got to be the most negative group of people you've ever spoken to.
And I love it, playing each other.
Honestly, I think between me and Fife, you're getting no positivity at all. Right?
We are about to see the most National League 2 game of all time, aren't we?
Yeah, probably. Yeah,
I mean,
I watched a lot of National League football, sadly.
So usually, to both of you, usually we kind of say, tell us why you're going to win on Saturday. But I think now it's not about convincing people why you're going to win. I think both of you are trying to convince each other why you're not going to win.
I've got some stats. Shall I do my stats?
Yeah, and then you two.
I don't think it's going to help matters, but Swindon have lost just one of their last 6 league games against Barrow. Won 3, drawn 2, keeping 3 clean sheets in that time. So that's 1 for Swindon.
Instantly, records are there to be broken, is how I'm looking at that.
Barrow won their last away league game at Swindon Town, 3-0 last season, and will be looking to win 2 such matches in succession for the first time. Another point to Swindon. Swindon are unbeaten across their last 4 home games, won 3, drawn 1,
Oh,
scoring
don't give me this
exactly
story.
3 goals in each of their victories during that time.
Yeah, we're
Point
there
for
for one of them.
Swindon.
Jesus, are you trying to make me feel better, or is it just like just trying to make me more defensive?
I just feel so sorry for Fifey at this point, Ronan. Barrow have won just 1 of their last 14 league games, drawn 6, lost 7, and haven't won on the road since defeating Grimsby 2-1 in September. That's
Yeah, but
4-0.
everyone beats Grimsby.
Swindon.
Right, so Ronan, to give you a little bit of a, and this is a stat, don't worry about it. This is going to perk you up a little bit. Going into the Swindon Grimsby game just before Christmas, Swindon were second bottom in the away table for the season. Grimsby were second in the table for away form. Swindon put 3 past Grimsby. Form, and do you know what? And I always find this baffling. We always talk about form going into games, and then when it kind of goes against it, and we see, someone like smash like Swindon beat Grimsby, we all sit there afterwards going, form means nothing, does it? But we always come back to form. And I find it so strict. We always come back to it, but really, we all know it doesn't mean not in this league. Anyone, aside from Walsall, until they've lost Lowe, we don't really know what's going to happen there. Anyone can beat anyone.
But at the same time, if you only look at home games across the last 6, Swindon are 6th in the league.
So what? I'm gonna try and do this properly for you guys and make this a proper thing here. I've seen Ben's comment that we're playing well at home. That's depends on your opinion of playing well. But here's what I will say. You are right that you can't argue with stats. What can't speak can't lie. And the thing is, as I've said, for me, we're not very good with the ball. Okay, but what we do seem to be able to do is, if we're allowed to attack, then we are actually got quite a good conversion rate, because we don't create, despite what people tell you, we don't create a lot of chances. What we do manage to do is we score the chances we have. I mean, even just Tuesday night, we played at home in the Visu, or whatever it's called now, Cup, to Birmingham. We scored
Virtue.
Virtue. Sorry, yeah, Virtue. We scored with what I believe was our only shot on goal in the game. And that's not the only time this season we've done this. So if you let us shoot, we will score. So just don't let us shoot, and you'll be fine, because we're not very good at creating chances. It's not like some people will throw, and I mean, Liam, you know that I've argued these times. I disagree with what classes as a shot on goal in these stats half the time anyway. But it's not like we bombard with cross after slick little pass after nice little through ball. We don't do that. Eventually, we just bore people into submission, and they let us shoot, and we score a goal. And normally our goals are like Kilkenny or Cox or someone like this has hit it from distance, and the goalkeeper's had a howler. I can't remember the last time like I've gone, oh, what a goal, lads. Unbelievable play. It's just like, oh, fuck me, we scored. How's that happened?
There's always been something that's led to you scoring that you can blame us.
But we are getting results at home. Not that necessarily matters too much, but results have picked up a little bit. The problem is, for every Grimsby performance, there's a Notts County performance. And for every time we can actually look like we can hold our own in the division, there's a chance that someone is going to absolutely roll us over, tickle our bellies, and treat us like the runt of the litter. We do have people who are good enough at this level. What we don't have is people who will consistently and collectively consistently be good enough at this level. So we can get a result. I'm not saying we can't get a result, because the fan in me won't let me say we can't get a result. Do I sit here confidently and say we are getting 3 points? No. Can we get 3 points? Yes.
Fair play. Ronan, just before you come in on the Barrow stuff, and this is the last we'll talk about this specific subject, Hannah. The question was raised here, genuine question, but schools / nightclubs, etc., have cameras in toilets. So interested in legality around. So I've been Googling while you guys have been talking. So it is legal to have cameras in toilets. It is not legal to have them over cubicles unless you can prove that there has been a repeated pattern of antisocial behaviour in that specific area you're trying to film.
Right.
So the club would have to, and somebody can challenge the club on this, the club would need to prove that they have had multiple instances of things happening in those female cubicles to justify having that camera there. Just saying. Do with that what you need. That is literally on the data protection law. It says it's illegal to... It's generally illegal to install CCTV cameras in toilet cubicles because they're considered private spaces. However, there are some exceptions, and the exception is in exceptional cases, such as where there has been repeated serious antisocial behaviour, it may be necessary to have surveillance in private areas. They have to be able to prove that, and they have to be able to justify it. So if somebody wants to challenge the club who's in the position to challenge it, do so, because they won't respond to us. But somebody down there needs to. So moving away from that, Ronan, Barrow's opportunity then for this Saturday. You've heard everything Fifey's got to say. Are you feeling in any way, shape, or form
You mentioned form.
Yeah, any way, shape, or I don't know what the other word is.
If we go to Swindon and win, then it sort of drags you away from that potential looming danger of the bottom two. And you can probably say, yeah, you've got to pick up enough results between now and end of the season to go out and be absolutely fine, which would be all right. And at the end of the season and mid-tableness or whatever it is. But if you go to Swindon and lose, then you're really dragged into some awful, awful stuff. Because, like, let's be honest, Morecambe have got Adams, who's an absolute master of getting out of anything. You know, Carlisle are getting better because Michael Williamson's making his own team. Yeah, Morecambe brought some players in.
Signed Callum Cook yesterday.
Yeah, good player. Williams has brought in his actual own midfield rather than a lot of plodders. So that gives Carlisle half a chance staying up. You know, Tranmere are shy. I think Tranmere might be the team that go down, and I can accept that. But I don't know. A draw would be the least surprising result ever because we don't really ship a lot of goals, but we don't create a lot of chances. But I really don't know. It just depends. We've had 2 weeks off now. We've had time for players to come in. We've just got rid of Andy Dallas, which is like the only strike. So there's some logic behind that. Well, Eccleston's been rubbish since September, so there's no like great shames in that. Everyone was sort of just accepting that was happy. And we brought in Leo Giroux, who seems to be a really, really good bit of business. I can't folk who watch that sort of level of football and whatnot. But I just don't. We haven't. The problem has been we haven't created enough this season, which has meant that our strikers haven't had chances. And when they've got chances, they've scored a few. Like we've not scored loads of goals, but they've scored some goals. We brought in Isaac Fletcher, who seems to be the lad who's going to make the chances. Kean Spence depends if he can be asked when he turns up on that Saturday. So it's like, yeah. If we have a game where we create chances in it, I fully back us to go out and win it. But it's just we're not creating that all. Is the top and bottom of it. We look all right in the back, but we just create nothing, which is devoid of ideas. We'll have lots of the football, but just do fuck all with it.
It's got 0-0 written all over it.
Oh God, I'm not going either. So.
It's got 0-0 or 4-4.
Yeah, we'll be talking about one of the best games we've ever watched.
Yeah, there's going to be
no one can defend, and
no one can defend. Each team scores 4 own goals, and you end up no one has a shot on target, but it ends up 4-4. I mean, look, I know we said we weren't going to go onto form, but right now, Fife, you said that you don't believe you'll go down because there are worse teams than you. And that's, like you say, you're not saying that you're good enough to stay up. You're essentially saying that there are teams that are worse than you.
Yes.
Do you consider Barrow one of those teams?
They wouldn't be someone that instantly jumps to mind, no.
Not instantly, but would they be one of the teams that you would consider? If you had to rank the teams and place yourselves in where you think you would sit, would Barrow sit below you? And Ronan, same question to you.
Probably not, no.
Do you not? Ronan, do you think you're a better team than Swindon?
Fight.
Because even though we're not talking about...
No, I don't. Do you know what? I don't. I actually really don't.
Because if we're going on form...
I don't think at the moment we are a better team than maybe... I think we're a better team than maybe it's two or three teams in the league. Max.
If we're going on the last 10
and it's probably
games,
those same 2 or 3 that I think are the reason we stay up.
And I think that's probably the reason we stay up as well, to be honest.
if we're going on the last 10 games, you're the worst team in the league.
Oh, yeah, comfortably.
You've won one game in 10. You've 7 points in 10. And a couple of things that Ben mentioned in the chat, he said something like 12 points or 10 points out of the last 12. It's like, yeah, that's okay. But on the overall picture, you've got 25 out of 78. You know, so there's you can stats, form, things like that. You can manipulate it into whatever way you want it to look. Yeah. You know, we could have come out of Barrow. Yes, you've won 1 in 10, but if we'd have been talking about after the Fleetwood game, which was you won, if we'd have said, look at the form, look, you know, you didn't lose this weekend, you then up there, because you can manipulate stats to however you want them to be manipulated into. You just can. Overall, the league table is the league table. Things are going to change. You're in a, I don't want to say decent form, Fifey, but like you say, you're picking up points where you maybe wouldn't have done. What I will say is then I saw Ben on Fools Rushing. Hannah, I don't know if you saw Ben, and he said it in our chat actually. Ben said he'd have accepted a draw going into that game. He was annoyed that they didn't, or he not annoyed, but he felt like they could have taken all 3 points.
He did.
How many times have we had that conversation? Now you had it at the Bromley game. We spoke about it obviously after the Crew game. I can't remember who the other one was the other week, but we've had that. That's what's going to cost you. Not
same was said at Bromley, same was said with Wimbledon. That's
the one, Wimbledon. You're getting to a point where for Barrow, it's simple. You're either winning or losing, and I don't think you've really got any arguments with the Barrow results. You're coming away from games having lost, and you feel like you deserve to lose.
You took words out of my mouth. That was the point I was literally going to make. I was just looking back at our fixtures then. Maybe Tranmere, where we played them away, and we beat everything but back in there for the last half hour. But yeah, I think every other game we deserve to get what we got out of it. There's no problems with it at all. And there's no bullshit there. It's just the truth. We've got what we deserved,
and that's where the difference is. You've kind of got that we are where we deserve to be. We've played and we've got the results that we deserve to get. Whereas with Swindon, we're kind of continually seeing them play better, or not necessarily play better. Like Fifey says, it's not that they're playing well. It's that teams that seem to be coming to Swindon really, really seem to struggle. And I don't think anyone can really pinpoint why. Like Grimsby, when they came, were horrific.
I genuinely believe that the one thing I'll give Holloway credit for is we are a better outfit, as I said, off the ball. Well, there is a like the basic fundamentals that any supporter would expect of the team that's put out in front of them. That the players do work hard to get into their position. They try and, you know. One thing that frustrates me personally is we don't engage enough physically with teams, but I don't think we necessarily have the players to do that, especially when, you know, Clark and Offerball can't play a game between them. So we have to manage that. But the one thing I will give Holloway credit for, and for anyone who watches our shows generally will know I don't give Holloway a lot of credit for anything, is we are a lot better off the ball in terms of having a shape, having an idea of how we're trying to defend. We are, you know, it's not like we're conceding 3, 4, 5 goals a game anymore. We are slightly more difficult to break down. I mean, don't get me wrong. We will gift you a goal. Every club will be gifted a goal because both of our goalkeepers are truly awful. And I mean, truly awful. I mean, even if you look at, as I said, we played Birmingham in the Cup, and credit to Swindon, it might not have been watching peak Brazil or France or Barcelona, but they were holding League One leaders and a decent Birmingham team. It's not like they threw out their youth academy in that game. They were holding Birmingham right up until our goalkeeper decided, oh yeah, I've still got to do my really shit thing for today yet.
Hannah, have you seen it? Hannah, have you seen Swindon's goalkeeper it's the last kick of the game. Birmingham
literally 88th minute.
Yeah. Birmingham get a corner, They whip it in. The goalkeeper is in the dead centre of his goal. He runs to his near post, does a star jump through the air. The ball hits Harry Smith in the middle of the goal and goes in. But he star jumps out of the way. Any goalkeeper that within 1 second of conceding is on the 6-yard line to the left of his goal is in the wrong place. He was so far out of his area, of his goal line. It's unbelievable. Great to watch as a neutral.
We've got Courier Die. I can only sympathise.
Yeah, but the thing is, Courier Die could have
is-
still had one foot on the centre of those blocks and his arm out there because he's that big.
The problem we have, Hannah, genuinely is we have 2 goalkeepers vying for the number 1 shirt. It's not like we have a number 1 and a stand-in. We have 2 goalkeepers genuinely believe that they're number 1, and they both try to out-nonsense each other. I mean, honestly, like, I have described Bycroft as the single worst goalkeeper I have ever seen play for Swindon, and yet somehow Barden still lets Bycroft be number 1.
I will openly say, and like this isn't a I told you so, but I pinpointed that on game 1 of the season. You guys opened the season against Chesterfield away that Friday night. We did the watch along, and I said there and then that he was not good enough, and because he conceded that goal. But look, we've done a lot on Swindon. We could do an entire. Someone's actually said, and I think we should do this. I want to know what I wanted to wait for you guys to all be here to kind of ask you the
A
question.
weekly just Swindon episode.
Well, someone said to do a special based on club nonsense. So ask people
Oh my
that watch.
God! This is what I'm here for.
Yeah, so
Wow.
ask people that watch to submit
I don't know how much
things
more
that
I can
their
go.
clubs have done over the years.
Might make you feel better, Fifey.
No,
But
it won't.
when they submit their nonsense, we then compare it to the current level of nonsense.
This
Swindon are
is where
delivering.
I
Oh
knew
my
this
God.
was going.
We can have a nonsense benchmark,
Yes,
and a
yes.
nonsense continuum, and like plot them. Like, oh my God,
Yes.
yes.
Hannah, we used to have, right before you joined, when it was just me and Grant, we used to have the Rochdale scale because
Right.
Rochdale were always in the middle. And do you know what happened that weekend? Rochdale got beat 4-1, dropped into relegation space, never came out and got relegated. So the Rochdale scale broke within a week. So we've never had a replacement. But someone did point it out, and I thought that's a really good idea to kind of, because look, when you're going through it and you're seeing the things that are going on now, I've been through nonsense with my club. I look back on it and I think, do you know what? It probably wasn't as bad as I thought, but at the time it was horrific. However, I think that what Swindon are going through is peak level nonsense.
We
But I
can
want to hear
call
from
it
other
The more
people.
foodie sale.
The more foodie scale. Oh, don't we'll get sued. We'll call it the nonsense scale, sponsored by Forbes magazine. And
Australian
we'll go
Forbes.
from that. So that's an idea.
The Fifey's retirement from podcasting episode.
Yeah, so anyone that's watching that wants to talk about, just send us any nonsense that your club have done over the years, anything at all, because we'll
We
get it
will
all.
find something Swindon have done worse.
But I think that's it. Maybe there might be something that you look at and go, "Oh well, no, we've never done that." But I think.
Well, no, we have.
I think you've got to rank them as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We need to
Yeah,
rank
Yeah,
them
like,
in order.
like a rankings. Yeah, I'm about that. I've got some knowledge about
In
it.
my head, Ronan, we've got paddles, like Strictly, and like 7.
I'm all about this. It's gonna be great.
We'll get some paddles if you want. And I'm like,
like-
I've got some from my club that aren't. Hannah, I know we spoke about it before we came on. Things that aren't out yet, but in the next few weeks will come out, and then they'll be going straight on the nonsense scale.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to put that, and that's what we'll.
And we've probably still beaten that as well.
Oh no, you aren't 100%.
Oh no, I've got some corkers.
So let's move on.
I'm very, very upset about how this episode's gone.
No, Five, but don't worry, it's about to get better because
Harry's give you loads of good stats about how you're going to win on Saturday.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
here
right.
to
Swindon's-
help, Fifey.
Swindon's big rivals
Thanks,
in the
Hannah.
league. Swindon's massive rivals in the league, Walsall. Because we all know how there's a rivalry between Swindon and Walsall.
They genuinely
there
don't
isn't.
like us very much.
Well, no. So here's the thing: there's a rivalry between Walsall and Ben. That's what there is. Ben and Walsall fans don't get on. So I've called this next section transfers, highs and lows.
Nice.
So obviously, for anyone who doesn't know, if you've been living under a rock, Nathan Lowe on loan at Walsall from Stoke, 15 goals in 22 games for Walsall, recalled by Stoke.
That's in reaction to Tom Cannon being recalled by Leicester, I'm presuming.
There's a whole, it's like,
Yeah.
there's a similar thing going on at Millwall. There's a whole chain of potential transfer shenanigans.
And one thing happens, and the next
Nathan Lowe is interesting in that so the first kind of rumors about him being recalled were that he was linked with Huddersfield, and he came out really publicly and said, no, I want to stay with Walsall. I want Walsall. I want to get promoted with Walsall. That's what I want before I go back to Stoke. Obviously players don't have a say in it, and ultimately he may have just been trying to, curry favor with the angry Walsall fans.
So would he ever say anything different?
Well, right. I mean, I think Louis Barry said it about, well, no, I don't know, although he's linked with Celtic now. But
I mean, Louis Barry didn't just leave. He released his own statement. His family released a statement, and I've never. If you want to talk about nonsense, that's going in there. That is.
Do you know what?
But mind you, Swindon did get Jake Young and Dan Kemp to sit in a room and watch their goals from the first half of the season, and then sent them both back. So yeah, do you know what? That's up there with Louis Barry's family.
Just on the subject of player transfers and nonsense, this would have probably escaped you because there would be no reason for you to notice it. But if ever one man and one moment ruined a career for somebody, I think it's St Mirren today announced that 3 players have had their contracts terminated, and one of those was Fankety Darbo, who's used to be for Swindon, used to be Forest Green. He went to Coventry and took the he missed the penalty in the playoff final that could have sent them to the Premier League. After missing that penalty, he got released from Coventry, demoted 2 divisions, went to Forest Green. They got released from Forest Green before they got relegated, then went to St Mirren and has just been released again, all because he missed the penalty in the Championship playoff final.
I remember that. I remember him missing and then him being released. And it was, I think we spoke about it, Hannah, I think at the time we spoke about
absolute nonsense how that boy's career has fallen apart because of one penalty.
Because of one penalty. Yeah, I remember the conversation about it, and he was getting a lot of abuse, and it was like, it's a penalty. It's just
a lottery.
It's pot luck, isn't it? You can't really, you can have a technique, but keeper can always get there. I remember that, and that's transfer nonsense. On low, go on,
yeah. No. So just so Walsall, Walsall have lost Lowe. They were absolutely adamant. Like I remember I talked to Walsall fans last week, and I was like, I'm fairly sure that he's going back because someone had told me that he was going back. But they left him there to let him play against Tranmere at the weekend and then recalled him, which is slightly late, but presumably it was kind of mutually agreed. And then it'll be what happens next. Does he go back out on loan somewhere in League One, potentially?
Yeah.
As a club in need of a striker, we wouldn't say no. Or does Stoke keep him? Because
well, we know that the Stoke situation is Cannon got recalled by Leicester, but he is going back out on loan because Van Nistelrooy doesn't think he's ready for the Premier League. The problem that Stoke have is that Sunderland and Sheffield United have both said we want him, and they want him playing for a team challenging for promotion, not a mid-table mediocrity team.
Yeah,
I think the crowd with Leicester is because their FFP's an absolute state. They've recalled him in the hope that they can sell him for X, whatever X looks like, to a Sunderland or whoever's in the top of the Championship to try and sort their own FFP out. And unfortunately, Walsall has been caught in that awful crossfire, which is going to end in Stoke bringing some striker in, and then he'll end up out on loan till. If you ended up on loan somewhere like Wrexham, would it shock you? Like, do you know what I mean? That sort of team, because they love that sort of player. But then he's not played enough appearances in the Premier League for Wrexham to want him, or he's not enough.
And that's like, there's kind of rumours circulating about Macaulay Langstaff at the moment. Not all play, it can take time for a player just because they're scoring in League Two doesn't mean they're necessarily going to score anywhere else.
Absolutely.
Sorry to circle back, but I just saw the comment from Edgeworth and I forgot about that. Dabo was also the player that Deeney did the interview about before he got sacked.
Yeah.
Yes.
This poor bloke's been through the ringer the last couple of years.
It's the best thing Troy Deeney ever did, getting
I
sacked.
can't believe that Troy Deeney's doing punditry now, like that anyone would touch him after that. But
Yeah, but I mean, let's be brutal honest. We'll talk about
He's inspiring
punditry.
Joey Barton that he's still got a future.
Has anybody seen Sky Sports' latest pundit?
God.
no.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. What's it called?
Manny.
Yeah, I seen that.
Do you remember the Toby from the Sidemen who crawled? Brother who
no.
Crawley
Yeah.
signed?
What, his brother, Manny?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Crawley signed Manny
That's right, yeah.
after the charity game. They invited them down to train. They signed him. They never played him. He's now a Sky Sports pundit, and he was on Sky Sports Football at the weekend, and it was Manny's expert opinion dissecting Premier League football, Hannah. And it's like the guy has never played. And look, being brutally honest, I've never played professional football, but I don't have a national platform.
I mean, I've never played actual.
Well, technically, you do
We'll
have a national platform.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a platform that we've created ourselves. I haven't got Sky Sports asking me to come in and talk about an X,
Have
and
you
I would
not?
never.
I don't-
No, but I think it's a poor comparison because Sky Sports isn't what it used to be. I mean, you
No,
look at their
but
Saturday morning
there's so
lineup,
many
and it's an
people out
absolute.
there.
I mean, that's farcical. That's the sort of stuff you could put on your nonsense meter. Just Sky Sports Saturday lineup.
Yeah, but the thing is, think about how many people there are out there. Even League One, League Two players that have reached the end of their career, they're better placed to do this. And look, I don't like Joey Barton. I think Joey Barton's a fucking weapon. But he's right in that point that there are people that are completely uneducated, unqualified. And I'm not saying that all footballers are qualified for it, because there's footballers that can't string a sentence together. But there are people better qualified than Manny, one of the Sidemen's brother, to be called an expert and given airtime on something that you pay. I mean, £100 a month for a Sky package, including Sky Sports. £100. Imagine paying £100 a month, and you turn Sky on, and there's a fucking YouTuber standing there telling you about football. YouTube's free. Like, this is free right now.
This is why I've always refused fools going on having any Patreon, because I don't want people paying for any shit that we come up with.
Right.
Hannah won't let us.
Absolute
I
nonsense.
could have put that Swindon song out on Patreon today, Hannah, and I could have made a $5 like that. That's there's things out there that we could. Hannah, don't know. I'm joking. We've always said we'll never ever charge it. Like that's ridiculous. I don't agree with stuff like that. I think you do this because you like it, and it's But again, like, how many people in this chat or in this room right now? Imagine you three turned Sky Sports News on, and I was sat behind that desk.
I mean, I'd love it personally. I'd be
Yeah,
like,
but you
yes, lad, you've made
Yeah,
it.
you'd love it for me, but you wouldn't listen to a fucking word I've got to say.
I'd listen as much as I listen now.
Yeah, but you'd take it with a pinch of salt. I
love-
would. I wouldn't even listen to myself.
I'd love to see your Sky Sports voice come out though, because you wouldn't talk how you do now.
I would.
I've heard him do commentary. No one
doesn't
heard
change.
me do commentary because my microphone wasn't turned on.
Yeah, so if anybody does want to know, that we do still have the footage. It's never been put out. So me and Hannah commentated on Salford versus Peterborough in the FA Cup. So I have commentated on 2 games in my life: Salford Peterborough, Bradford Hartlepool, and in both recordings,
No, you did another Salford game because you kept commenting on how Ryan Giggs was sat near you.
I was on my own for that one though.
You were.
Yeah, but
I tuned in and listened to that.
Yes, in terms of commentary, where I've had a co-commentator, Salford Peterborough, the recording, you can hear. Well, you can see me look at Hannah. Hannah lip sync something, and then me go, yeah, and then there's a silence, and then I look back and I respond to something that Hannah said because I can hear her, but no one else can. Bradford Hartlepool. Grant didn't turn his microphone then either. Hang
on. You were responsible for audio visual. Don't with the Grant didn't turn his microphone on either. Grant may not have turned his microphone on, but I was 100% not responsible for the audio issues. And it was my birthday,
Oh.
Fivey. Liam ruined my birthday.
I don't know
You
whether I
ruined
was
mine by not
responsible.
turning up to my party.
I
I wasn't
apologise for having
invited.
Hannah wasn't invited. Oh, it's like an Ellen moment.
Yeah.
No, because I'm sure Hannah wasn't expecting to be invited.
I
You had your
apologise.
excuses.
I
know.
apologise for having a child on
Yeah.
your birthday weekend 2 years in a row. It's probably going to happen next year as well, Fife. My plan.
It's all right. That was my first ever party. I'm not having one now.
Well, Fife, have one the week before your birthday. If you do it the weekend before, I'm fine. I can come.
Okay.
So back to
We
transfers.
digress.
I'm watching Shrewsbury Wrexham, and Paul Mullen's just done a proper, like, dramatic falling to the ground in the penalty area, and he's still bitching about it. And the referee's just like, wave them on. It's made my evening.
You have more expertise than Manny. At least you got onto the pitch. I did.
Well, we'll see how much expertise you have if we can organise me and you going down to watch Swindon Bradford.
Well, that's the plan. I've already sorted my ticket, Fifey. So,
Have you?
yes. It's April, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite late. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a late one. So we said we'll go down and do some commentary. But yeah, no. Just on that.
Sure, they'd love
point,
to see me and you rock up together. They'd be like, "Oh God."
Well, the last time I went, Hannah, do you remember the last time I went to Swindon and they ended up ringing a certain someone that we used to work for, asking if I'd been sent there to spy?
Yes, I remember that.
I did. I got to do a tour of the ground. They said, "Have you seen this bit? This was on a TV show called this." I was like, "No, I saw that room though on Can't Pay. We'll take it away." Believe it or not, I've got a funny feeling they'll be back this year. It'll be the first time they've done a follow-up.
You said we were finished with Swindon.
I know, I can't help it. So transfers. Let's just get on to transfers here. So, how far, being realistic right now for your club, based on what you've both said, you want to survive this season? How far are you away from having a squad that's capable of doing that? How many transfers and where do you think those are? Anna, for you, Salford want to get promoted. They're up there. They're doing really, really well. How far do you think Salford are? I don't want to say based on what you saw Saturday, because they're about 23 players away. But where do you think they need to really strengthen at this point? And where do you guys think you need to strengthen? And do any of you need any attacking midfielders? Because Bradford have currently got 9 players in attacking midfield.
I mean, who wants to go first? Ladies first?
So Stefan Negri's gone back to Oxford since we last spoke. So that's a massive. I mean, I think it was kind of coming last time we did a podcast, but it's been confirmed now. So he was brilliant for Salford. His stats were sky high. That said, I think we said so he was kind of in that centre-back role where Dan Chesters would have played as well. So that's even more of a kind of gap. And then they don't have that kind of 25-goal striker. So that said, I think it'll be interesting to see. I don't think last Saturday will have any kind of impact on their confidence or anything like that. It is what it is. I mean, City played a squad that was made up of incredibly good academy players and first team and, people in between. Foden played, Jack Grealish, Haaland was on the bench. I was a little bit gutted I didn't get to see Haaland, actually. And I did that awful thing where you leave it. Well, I was going to leave at 70 minutes. And then at 68, they scored again. And then all the City fans were doing the cheerio thing. And I felt like I couldn't go. And so I kind of sat there. And then there was the penalty. And after that, I was like, fuck it, I've got it's freezing.
What score was it when you left?
It was 7-0 when I left.
Oh, so you only missed one.
So I missed one. Yeah. I could hear it from the Metrolink. So, all right.
Did you look at Man City's bench before the game and think, Man City aren't 100% sure?
Yeah.
Today.
Yeah.
You can tell if they hadn't gone through that form that they've been through that last couple of months. I don't feel like Haaland would have been on the bench, De Bruyne, all those players that were. I just
And
Oh
it's
no, I
looking at-
disagree because we played them a couple of years ago, and that they did something quite similar. It was a largely sort of backup first team and sort of the up and coming young players, but they still had like some of the established names. I mean, when we played them again, it was 3 seasons ago now. But De
Yeah.
Bruyne was on the pitch at one point.
Yeah, but
And I
do you think
but
that's a little bit
that-
different going to an away team though as well?
Yeah,
Playing
well,
again,
I think it's kind
yeah.
of the same thing. It's risk avoidance that, you know, if things start to look like they might go slightly downhill, then we've got the strength to come in and bolster it. And they never looked like they were out of first gear. And at times I thought it was almost like a game of cat and mouse, that they'd let Salford have a bit of a run and then shut it down. But that's kind of by the by. So I don't think that, well, I hope that it doesn't affect Salford's confidence too much, but it remains that Salford had a relatively easy run. So yes, they've done very well. They're top of the form table with Walsall. They still are, but they had played much lower placed opposition, and they had Stefan Negri. So I think some bolstering. They, again, like Peter Lim's pulled out, they're, you know, have less financial power than they perhaps have had over the last few years, and they're not a great loan destination for players because of the facilities and the kind of the infrastructure. So I don't know. I would like, I'd kind of like them to do well, but
Ian's asked the question that you mentioned, Negro. Where's he going next? League One is all we know.
League One, yeah.
Yeah.
But I find that weird. So he is an Oxford United player. The amount that has been rumoured is in the region of $500,000.
Yeah.
It kind of doesn't make sense to me that, you know, if he's that good, why are Oxford so keen to offload him? And I mean, we've let Sam Hughes go to Posh today, which is a interesting move because Fraser Horsfall is injured. Sam Hughes is another right-footed centre back like Stefan Negri. So, but who knows? He could be going anywhere in League One.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing for me is that they're asking for $500,000. Which is fine. He's got plenty of time left on his contract. Right now, they value him at $500,000 based on how he's been in League Two. So I think it'd be silly of them to sell him right now.
Yeah.
Because without testing him, because every single team in League Two knows what he's capable of.
Right.
He's $500,000 probably too much. In fact, it's not probably for League Two. It's too much. If he goes and does well in League One for the second half of the season,
they'll end up like Louis Barry. They're talking about 7 figures for.
Yeah, you'll be looking at near 7 figures for him.
Like I got, 6 in my head. 6 figures is $1 million. I mean, it's clearly not. No, I know. Yeah. So I was thinking like 10+ million. But yeah, then they've got the option to sell him on to the Championship. But I don't know why not let him do that for them.
Because they're in the Championship, aren't they?
Yeah.
So they don't. Yeah, you thought they were in League One, didn't you?
No, I got confused.
Yeah, but the point is with it, Oxford and Cambridge getting mixed up. You can't do that. But no, the point is with him is that
they are as well. Michael Hellick from Huddersfield.
So
Jason's Popson thing. I did know that, and I had forgotten it.
So Oxford are looking at players right now that are ready to play in the Championship, which, that's why they're making that signing. They obviously don't feel like he is yet, but he could be. And in 6 months' time, they could have a really, really good top-end League One player that's ready to move into the Championship.
Yep.
Or they'll have a player that's very, very good for League Two, hasn't quite cut it in League One yet, but there'll be clubs lining up to sign him. And then they know where he's at. And that 500 grand will probably drop to 300 grand, which is a lot of money at this level. But we're seeing this at this point, like League One is inflating prices for League Two. Huddersfield signing a player for £3 million. Birmingham, the anomaly, signing player for £16 million in League One. But that's going to have an impact on us. So when you look at Oxford asking for 500 grand for a possibly for the first half of the season, statistically the best defender in the league, it's peanuts in comparison. And this is the issue we had with contracts last year, Hannah, when Wrexham came up, because they were offering a lot more. Players got that thing of Wrexham are offering this and I'm as good as him, so I'm going to ask for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see what happens with him, but he's definitely going League One.
The undoing of teams and players, unfortunately.
Yeah. Ronan, how
Speaking
far
of
off are you?
Wrexham, they've got 8 minutes extra time and it's still 2-1. I know this is League Two, but I'm
They're going to
invested.
score. They're going to score. Man United have just scored in the 91st minute to go 2-1 up against Southampton. But
I was watching it in the background.
Ronan, for you then, how far are you off, and where are your immediate concerns right now to not be able to get you over the line? Where do you need to change immediately?
Yeah, we need 2, maybe 3 in. We need a centre midfielder who's combative as a starting point. Somebody who can rival Dean Campbell, who's been out of the squad. We don't have any sort of like brawl in the midfield at all. And we need a striker, desperately need a striker. Everyone says that, but I know that. But we do. We signed Aaron Presley, for Christ's sake, and seen him as the answer to our problems. I mean, I've watched Aaron Presley play football, I assume most of you have as well. Really? You know what I mean? And then probably another centre half, because we're like there. Sam Bard has come back in, who's not played a game all season. So I suppose that's like a new signing. You could argue that, but Christ, we need something. We need something. Somebody who can hold the midfield down and do a proper job and not look like a massive pushover would be a start. And then from there a forward, whoever that may be, since we've sent Dallas back.
That's a lot of work.
I know.
What about a manager?
Oh, I'd sack him. I'd have sacked him 4 weeks ago. I'd sacked him in October, but that was me being an asshole. But no, we need a new manager. I've said this. I've said it to you. I've said it to everybody I possibly know. I think I said it to my mum, who sits there with me over the Sunday dinner or whatever. That we need a new manager, and there is musings of them conversations taking place in the background. So there is some movement on that behalf, just in case. But there's nothing concrete as of yet. But I genuinely believe Clemens could quite comfortably take us down, and that would be the end of us. We'd never come back. You
not think?
No, we might not. Financially, would we even be a football club? Would be that question.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Yeah.
AFC Bar would be brilliant though, like Locomotive Barrow, something like that. Like we'd all be on the piss in the stand. It'd be brilliant, it'd be fantastic.
Yeah, you'd still be at the same ground.
Yeah, it'd be great.
It's of a 9th tier standard, isn't it? You'd be fine.
Hey, it's still ours.
It's the only one that's there. It's the only one. Like there's just nothing. That's the thing. Like you've not got that worry, have you? Really, with your ground, because there's nothing else it could possibly be. I mean, you share it with the rugby, don't you? Or do you not? No. There's a rugby. There's a rugby pitch not far.
Now, if you think Holker Street's bad, you should go to Craven Park.
I've seen footage from it because Bradford Bulls were in the same league.
Rougher than a badger's ass.
Yeah, not great. Pfeiffer, how far are you off?
I mean, I was going to say the easy answer for me is 23, but realistically, first and foremost, we need a goalkeeper. We have to get an actual proper goalkeeper who does actual proper goalkeeper things. I mean, we were throwing hypotheticals out on our show the other day, and the name that I've said for the last 3 years, I think I threw out again because he's not playing regularly. And I said Swindon are crying out. What I would do, by the way, is because we don't have money, and what money we do have, as we know, is going on a roof on the toilets and stuff. I would genuinely, if Holloway backed himself to do this properly, I would scoop up our loans that we have, send them all back, and just use the loans again, and just do the loans properly. But yeah, I mean, I sent out an impassioned plea the other day to go and get O'Donnell because he's just wasting away at whatever age in his mid-30s he is. Just at Blackpool, just not doing anything. I sent out an impassioned plea, please just go and get him. He would save our season. He would single-handedly save our season because just mentioning his name, he is already Swindon's best goalkeeper this season.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think we mentioned it the other week, didn't we? That was a conversation.
Well, we spoke about him years ago, like when me and you first started doing this sort of stuff together. And then I remember I did the lower league look visit a club thing, and I went and watched Mansfield Rochdale, and I went, Jesus! I went, how are they where they are? Because he is unbelievable in goal. He was so inspired that day. And ever since then, I've been like, please, just rock up once in a Swindon shirt, please.
And do you know what? He would as well.
So that is the caliber that we need. That is what we need. Like, so Barden can go back to Norwich. Bycroft can sit on our bench because no one's going to touch him. No National League club's going to touch him. No National League North or South club's going to touch him. So Bycroft can sit on the bench, O'Donnell in goal. We already look 100 times better than we do now. We need a centre-back, possibly two, if rumours of departees are true. But we definitely need a centre-back because although we are, as I said a couple of times tonight, we're not bad off the ball. Yeah. But I just don't back. I don't have full confidence. Like, it's amazing, and something else that's been joked about is as fans we can sit here and we can say what we need, and you know, me and you and many Swindon fans had many a conversation last year. The one thing we don't have is defenders who can head the ball clear. We don't have physical defenders. We went out and bought physical defenders who physically can't defend.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable how this has happened. And now the likes of Delaney are getting better. And I mean, I get ripped apart for my loathing dislike of Will Wright. I think I've genuinely described him as the most overhyped player we've ever had. But
if he hadn't scored that goal on game one, if he hadn't scored that goal on game one, he wouldn't get the hype that he does.
I can't deny that there have been some performances where he has turned up. So fair play to him for that. But yeah, we desperately need a goalkeeper. We do need a centre-back. We desperately need an enforcer in midfield because, as I said earlier, we wouldn't if Offerball and Clark could actually see the season out between them. But they can't. They can't see a game out between them. Yeah. So we need somebody else in midfield who can just do the physical stuff. We've got lots of nice little, pass the ball players and try and get forward and, dare I say, even shoot from distance players. But we just need someone else who's robust enough for League Two to actually play consistently that holding midfield role.
Yeah.
I've got a question.
Oh, go on.
It's not necessarily related to Swindon, but
that's good.
I mean, generally. Freddie Draper. Shrewsbury have just beaten Wrexham. Freddie Draper has been close to signing with, I don't even know how many teams. So Walsall, they're close to signing Freddie Draper. Notts County, close to signing Freddie Draper. So someone else, I can't remember who it was. Grimsby have linked with him. Where is he going to go?
I think the Walsall thing, obviously they're looking and going, we've lost Lowe, we're going to bring in Draper. But if I'm Walsall's owner, I'm going, well, hang on, we had Lowe on a loan. There's clearly players out there available on loan that can do the job. Why would I pay X amount for a player?
Yeah.
Because they're not going to loan Draper because someone's going to buy Draper if he's going to move. So I don't think that they will do that. I just don't. Yeah, that's my view. Anyway. I think they're. I don't know. It's just very, very strange. Yeah. What? Sorry. Carry on. Who do you guys think that he's going to go to?
I think he'll go top end of the division, but I think you're right. I think that will go on a lot longer than people think because clubs will try and look to loan someone of that quality before spending the money.
Yeah.
It depends because it's would you argue Freddie Draper's a sure thing?
No. And that's the point. Like,
that was literally what I was going to get to. Yeah, he's not a sure thing. So are Walsall badly running enough to think, oh, he's done it before, will he do it again? No, I'd be shy. So Barrow would do.
Yeah.
It's what Barrow would do. We'd sign him. We'd sign him. He'd have his worst career move ever. He'd score 2 goals, and that would be it. Like Dom Telford.
Yeah, and that's the issue that you've got with him is that, like you say, you don't know if he's going to do it. It's not guaranteed, but there are players out there that you can take on loan. It's low risk, and you find out what happens later down the line, and if it works, fantastic. You then have to fork out for him, but you have to fork out for someone. But I think you end up in a position of strength. I want to say, I think you end up in a stronger position by loaning someone and trying them out than giving someone a 2.5-year contract who you don't really know he's going to replicate. Well, I mean, look, why is he leaving League One? This is a club, Walsall are looking to move to League One. Notts County are looking to get promoted to League One. He's in League One currently and he's not doing it. So what's the issue? Is he the answer?
They built up enough of a cushion, Walsall, 12 points, where if they get someone in as soon as possible, they've still got 2 games, maybe 3, to have a look at a striker and then be act really late in the window if they need to.
Yeah,
they've
absolutely.
got themselves in a really luxury position.
Yeah, and that there, just sort of talking about like a player that's in the league above, that's potentially dropping down. Obviously, there's a reason that he's not staying in League One. It's similar to our position now. We're talking about from our position, the signings that we've made, people been quite happy. We signed Mellon, people looking, going, he did great for Morecambe. Yeah, he did do great for Morecambe. But this season, he hasn't done great. And that's not me knocking him. He has been injured
for a good chunk of it, in fairness.
Hannah, he played us 5 weeks ago. He was that absent in the game that Bradford fans
thought he still played for Morecambe. I know.
Thought he still played for Morecambe, and we were signing him. They were talking about his form for Morecambe. He played us 5 weeks ago, and he was absent. They didn't even notice.
But that was the first time that he played. I think it's the first time that I'd seen him for months and months and months.
Yeah. So, so there's that. There's Lapsley again. Lapsley for Mansfield, a cracking player. Not so much for Gillingham. So we've signed players that were good at their club before the club we signed them from, and that's kind of my view on it. Like it could work, however, the most recent position that those players have been in, it hasn't worked. And I get that Stockport again is a level above, but same thing, level above couldn't cut it. We want to go to that level above. We've signed him on loan, and people are looking at what's the long term of it. We've obviously lost Andy Cook. He's 21 years old. Are we going to sign him permanently? Probably not, unless he has a Morecambe second half of the season, then we probably would. But then that's a risk of, we've seen what happens if he steps up. Doesn't seem to replicate it for whatever reason. It's such a weird, I find it so weird signing players that are out of form, even from the league above, if you have aspirations to be there in 6 months' time, unless it's, like I say, a loan, which is obviously a little bit different. But from our perspective, we need, and we're probably going to shift some players on. We've got a lot of midfielders. I don't really understand why we've signed so many midfielders. We're okay on the. We probably need a goalkeeper. Sorry, Pfeiffer. We're dipping into the goalkeeper market, but I think we need a goalkeeper.
Whoever you sign is not going to be someone we're looking at.
well, ours is a backup for me. It's somebody, because we have Doyle, who's obviously, I think 38, 39 years old now, but he's a coach as well, and he kind of usually plays our EFL Trophy games. But Walker played on Tuesday night, and then we have Zach. I don't know if it's pronounced Hady or Hady, but he's never made any appearances. And for me, I find it so strange that we've got this young keeper who we promoted from the youth team 2 years ago, doesn't get to play. Rather than play him in those cup games, we play the goalkeeper coach. So in the league, there's no competition for Sam Walker. And that leads to occasionally mistakes. And those cost us games. not always. I mean, there's post matches where we do obviously the camera on the pitch at full time, where Sam Walker's literally walked off, looked at the camera, and gone, "Thank fuck for Andy Cook," because he's made a mistake in the game, but Andy Cook scored a winner, and it's like he knows that. And I think competition's great, so I think we maybe need a goalkeeper. We need another striker. We needed a striker before Cook got injured. We were looking at a striker before Cook got injured. Cook's got injured. We brought Mellon in. We still need another striker. We don't have. If Mellon comes in and carries on Cook's form, we still only have one goal-scoring striker for the league, and we needed a second to complement that. So I still think we need a second one. We need no midfielders. We've got plenty of defenders, probably 2 stacked in defence as well. But yeah, I don't know what else we can do. I think a lot of our incomings are based on outgoings and what we're going to see in the next 10 days. 16 days.
I don't know when it shuts, actually.
18 days.
It shuts on Monday, the 3rd of February.
Monday the 3rd.
11 p.m.
Days. Yeah. 18 days.
Are we
We've
doing a
got
whole
left.
crossover, Fifey?
Yeah.
Where it does fall on a fool's night, so I'm sure we'll be doing something. Yeah,
It always falls on a fool's night. It's always a Monday or a Friday.
it's class, isn't it? How that works.
So Ronan, there'll be me and you on here. Anna will be on the Stockport one and then joining us. Fifey will be live on Fools Rush In doing the Swindon Town transfer deadline day one, and we'll be doing a General League 2 one, and we'll all just drop in between.
Simulcasting between each other
Yeah,
just because it's fun.
It's quality. I'll be brutally honest, we've never topped the first one where Harry McCurdy went to Hibs. That's never been topped. That was unbelievable. I spent that night, it was the summer. I had the fire pit in the garden. I got a takeaway.
It was amazing.
And
it went on late because of the international clearance or whatever it was that they were.
1:30 in the morning. Hibs are now 1:20 in the morning. Hibs sent out a tweet saying "Don't go to bed yet," and then they announced some player that they'd taken on loan from Man United. And then 10 minutes later, just randomly announced Harry McCurdy. And I was getting abuse from Hibs fans because I told them that McCurdy was going. And then, yeah, but still, that was a great night. They were a lot of fun. I'm hoping that someone is going to make a big signing this deadline day and we don't have the anticlimax.
I feel like last one, there wasn't much, was there? The one before the summer last year was good as well with the whole Luke Armstrong.
That was deadline day.
Odin Bailey.
That was only good when it got to the next day, when it obviously fell apart. Jason said here Bradford will probably sell Tyler Smith. Jason, being brutally honest, no one's coming in to offer to buy Tyler Smith from us. I think we'd let him go for free. But if you're Tyler Smith, you signed a 2-3 year deal, whatever it was, just over a year ago on big money for the league because we signed him from Hull. We didn't sign him on pennies. Would you leave if you were Tyler Smith? Because I wouldn't. I'd sit on that contract and I'd make him pay. For Dane Oliver, another one, he's been with us for 2.5 years now. He's out of contract in the summer. We signed him on nearly £4,000 a week. He's, I think, scored 2 goals for us in the league in 2.5 years. And he's been we signed him to replace Andy Cook and he's played second fiddle for 2.5 years. He's sat on that contract. They're not going to leave. Why would they? Anyway, that's just my annoyance with players that are happy to sit and not play football. And then we've got players that are desperate to play football, who are good enough to play football, but are not going to be given the opportunity and they're going to be forced out of the club at some stage. That's another thing.
Speaking of footballers who are happy not to play, I was randomly looking for some names just to try and entertain us on an episode of Fools recently. And I'm just checking that one player in particular hasn't signed for anybody. No. I imagine if he was to rock up in these aisles again, it would be more around Hannah's level than ours. But I did notice that Kemar Roof still doesn't have a club.
Not heard anything. Not even heard the name mentioned.
Honestly, and it wouldn't be popular. But if there was any chance that the former Oxford goal scoring machine was to rock up at Swindon, fuck me, I would pick him up from Glasgow myself and drive him there.
I mean, how long has he been unattached?
He left Rangers the end of last season.
Yeah, he's
Still
some transfer market.
He's the kind of player that pops up at like we get loads of waifs and strays that train with the club when they're kind of between contracts and they want to keep in, and Charlie has them because it helps, you know, bring in talent and some seniority and, you know, all of that.
I could just while you're all logging into Transfer Market, I can see that Callum has asked twice thoughts on Harry Smith. I get criticised because I've been quite critical of Smith, but the one thing you can't argue with is, despite the fact we're rubbish, he has scored goals, and I'm again fairly certain there will be other clubs looking to take him from us in the next 2 weeks. Because why wouldn't we, when we're desperately trying to stay in the league, sell the only person scoring any goals for us?
Liam, just quickly, Ollie Smith's gone to Harrogate. How is he for you? Like,
Sanderson.
what's happened there? Yeah.
Sanderson.
It's from saying about Harry Smith.
Yeah, no, he well, ironically, he started okay, had some good performances, and then there was allegedly, a bust up between him and the management at Harrogate after we played Harrogate.
Okay.
And then he kind of didn't really feature again. I think he maybe made a sub appearance, or he played and was subbed off quite early. There's a player in there, but it didn't suit. Again,
maybe Simon Weaver was tapping him up and he was like, yeah, go on then.
Well, my thing is, like, strikers that have been coming into this football club, like, I think anybody that's come in has known that their job is to set Andy Cook up.
Right.
That's their job. Unless it falls to you in a position where it's a surefire thing. It's like, you know, the club trust Andy Cook to put the ball in the goal. So strikers have been coming in and their job has been get that ball to Andy Cook's in the middle of the goal. You're on the right-hand side. Get it to him. So there's been opportunities where the players have probably passed where they would have naturally had a shot. Just because it's not a surefire thing, but it's the we know that Cook can score. But yeah, I think he's a good player. I think, being brutally honest, I think Harrogate is a convenience thing because I'm guessing Fulham have had him in accommodation in Leeds for the loan, and it's been a hell of a lot easier to just shift him to Harrogate, and he can still stay in the same accommodation. Nothing changes. So I think I think the Harrogate of it is a convenience thing, but Harrogate, they have this thing of signing players that don't really perform for us. And I don't want to say they then go on and perform for Harrogate, because I think aside from like Matty Folds, they don't generally do it. Matty Folds was a player that performed for us and then has continued to perform for Harrogate, but I don't think that there's a. I find it surreal. Their recruitment strategy seems to be, who have Bradford let go, and can we sign them? And again, I think it's location based. I think it's you don't have to move house, and we'll bring you in, and you can play for us, because I find it's very, very strange. So yeah, we'll see how he does. I hope he does well, because he's, like I said, there's a player in there, but we weren't getting that out of him, and whatever happened at Harrogate away, God knows. Yeah, right. Well, guys, we've done a lot tonight. We probably should have started a little bit earlier.
I am 100% here for the nonsense continuum, though. I think that we should bring something, like, it doesn't have to be from our clubs, like something in lower league football each week to nominate for.
How low can we go? How low can we go?
Swindon.
So very low. We used to have, and I can't remember what we used to do. It was kind of like a nonsense of the week.
We had Rosette.
Rosette, that was it. So that was something. I'm happy to bring that back as well. I think that'd be good for everyone to kind of take part in. So Rosette, guys, and it's for anyone who's watching as well, and any of the guys that are going to contribute on this, is bring something that you want to see yeeted out of football.
Clem Morfuni.
Well, there's that, but you've got to justify as well. I know you can justify Clem, but we're not just talking. We're not just talking your clubs or a club specific. Something that we had half and half scarves. Something that's done across football that you would happily see removed from the game and booted into Rosette. That was the thing. It was like Room 101 for us. So yeah, have a think about it. Have a think about nonsense that you've seen about clubs. And yeah, has anyone got anything else they want to add before we wrap up?
Nope.
It's going to be good to have a full fixture list again this week.
It will be. I can't wait.
Will it?
We've got Carlisle.
Except for us.
Ronan, you want to talk stats? You talk about Hannah's stats. We're playing Carlisle. We haven't won there since 1985.
Oh, please, it'd be hilarious. I'm really enjoying the discourse of Carl, man. Makes me feel better about my Saturday drive home.
I know. So I'm hoping that we do. So, guys.
But you haven't completed a league double over Carlisle since 85-86. Just saying.
That's what Hannah, we haven't won at Carlisle since 85-86. That was the last time we've never won at Carlisle in my lifetime.
That's not mentioned, which is unusual.
Yep, never won at Carlisle in my lifetime.
That's inspiring, isn't it, Ronan?
Yeah. So
Carlisle have lost just 2 of their last 8 league games against Bradford, 1-4 drawn 2. Although they've scored just 2 goals in total across their last 4 meetings with the Bantams.
Well, that's not true. They scored 3 against us in playoffs.
Just everyone look forward to the 6-6 thriller.
Yes, 6-6 thriller, 12 own goals.
Oh yeah.
They'll win, and I won't be there because I'm not going on Saturday, and they'll win.
Don't worry, Birds of Blue will cover it for you. Before we go, a little short version just to see us out, guys. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.
Please.
So at 5, it's all right. I've turned it into a 20-second clip. Don't you worry. We'll see you next time.
Essentially